Check, check. Okay, well, hello everyone. Good afternoon all. So we're from group 9. We're going to present our topic and the topic is language acquisition. So before we start it, let me introduce myself. Let me introduce myself and my partner's name. My name is Sakara Agus Krishna Wijaya with student ID number 1120211179. And my partner's name is
My name is Kadema Ardika. ID number study is 211202120. Thank you.
My name is Widya Raditya Stapediarta with ID number 211-221-199.
Okay, next slide, please. Okay, for the first topic will be presented by me. So what is language acquisition? Language acquisition is the process by which humans acquire the capacity to perceive and comprehend language as well as to produce and use words and sentences to communicate. Next slide, please. The linguistic capacity of children. Next. Stage in language acquisition. Children's early utterance may not look exactly like adult sentences, but child language is not just a degenerate from a form of adult language. The words and sentences that the child produces at each stage of development conform to the set of grammatical rules he has developed to that point. Although child grammars and adult grammars differ in certain respects, they also share many formal properties. Like adults, children have grammatical categories such as NP and VP, rules for building pairs, structures, and for moving constituents, as well as phonological, morphological, and semantic rules, and they adhere to universal principles such as structure dependency. Next. Okay, next, the acquisition of phonology. Acquisition of phonology is the process whereby children acquire the target language phonology, including its functional aspects like the language specific sound contrast. Next. The acquisition of word meaning. The mystery surrounding the acquisition of word meanings has intrigued philosophers and psychologists as well as linguists. We know that all children view the world in a similar fashion and apply the same general principles to help them determine a word's meaning. For example, overextensions are usually based on psychical attributes such as size, shape, and texture. Okay, next, the acquisition of morphology. The child's acquisition of morphology provides some of the clearest evidence of real learning. Children's errors in inflectional morphology reveal that the child acquires the regular rules of the grammar and then over applies them. This overgeneralization occurs when children treat irregular verbs and nouns as if they were regular. We have probably all heard children say bring, good, drought, and run, or foot, mouse, and sips. Okay, next, the acquisition of syntax. Children automatically develop synthetic rules without explicit instructions. They learn it simply by listening to other people talk around them. In this experiment, baby sitting on his mother's lap and hearing the sentence through the speaker while looking at the two video displays depicting different action, one of which corresponds to C sentence. Babies tend to look longer at video that match their sentences here. Okay, next. The acquisition. Now, natural sign languages of deaf communities are acquired on the same time scale as spoken languages are. If children have access to fluent signer providing infant from birth, infants are sensitive to linguistic information provided visually, and early milestones show many parallels. Next. Okay, for the next topic will be presented by Radit. Time's yours.
All right. The material is the role of the linguistic environment adult input. Okay, the role of linguistic environment adult input is children deprived of linguistic input show a clear drive to acquire language and may even create a rudimentary linguistic system, as illustrated by deaf children who create home sign. But there is little doubt that children require a linguistic environment to develop a mature linguistic system. The role of imitation, reinforcement, and analogy. Okay, reinforcement is refer to anything that increase the likelihood that a response will occur. It increase or strengthen the behavior. Imitation. Imitation help toddlers firm up their knowledge. Most of the meaning in a language is held within the way the sound and symbol are combined. Children learn the language structure and the individual word through imitation. And the last is analogy. Analogy thus they play a central role in the acquisition of language because children have to develop from mapping based on observable similarities. Next is the role of structure input. The role of structure input. Theories that assume that acquisition depend on specially structured input also place too much emphasis on the environment rather than on the grammar making abilities of the child. Okay, and the next material will present by my friend Ika. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you. The next material is knowing more than one language. Next. Okay, childhood bilingualism. Children might acquire more than one language at a time. Bilingual children seem to go through the same stage as monolingual children, except that they develop to grammar and to lexicon simultaneously. This is true for children acquiring to spoken language as well as for children acquiring a spoken language and a sign language. Whether his child will be equally proficient in the two languages depends on the input here or see device and the social condition under which the language are acquired. Next. Next, please. Okay, the second language acquisition. Second language acquisition or sequential language acquisition is learning a second language after a first language is already established. Many times this happens when a child who speaks a language other than English goes to school for the first time. For example, by setting English is spoken only in the school and Urdu is spoken only in the home. By topic, French is spoken only during mealtime and Spanish is spoken during school or work activities. By speaker, mom will speak only in German and dad speak Russian only. Okay, the next. Okay, I think that's all for me. For my friend, any question? Okay, for Kresna Marta, your question.
Okay, thank you for the time. I want to ask a question here. What is the difference between imitation and analogy rules? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kresna Marta. And the other people, you can question, any question? Okay, for Yaya, your question. Okay. Okay, Yaya.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Question. So, wait a minute. The difference between imitation and analogy rules are imitation. Children simply listen to what is said around them and imitate the speech they hear. While analogy, children hearing a sentence and using it as a model to form other sentences. Okay, that's my answer.
Okay, the next question for Yaya. What are the challenges in acquiring a second language? The first habit, for example, we are used to speaking Indonesian, which is the first language. Then we learn English, which is the second language. It will be a bit difficult because we are used to using the first language. Second, the challenge is pronunciation and grammar. Okay, the last question is, what are the goals of second language acquisition? Okay, so that we can speak a many language and we can communicate with foreigners. I think for me, not my answer is it suitable. Yeah. Okay, thank you, yeah.
All right. That's all from our group. So thank you and see you again in next week.